Well, hello everyone. Thank you for having me again. My name is Janikke Klem. I'm with TechCU, and we are a financial institution located or headquartered in Silicon Valley. So I want to get really tactical with this presentation and kind of get down into the weeds a little bit on what partnerships can look like. All right. So as you've heard, the US corporate system is broken. And for decades, corporate profits have led over sustainability, social equity, and community interests. But this is changing, as you've heard, with these new corporate leaders that are coming in and who see that employees, customers, and the community will not stand for this status quo. So the trend is towards connecting purpose with profits. So what does that look like? Well, many companies are now have community engagement programs which provide for better performance, customer satisfaction, and employee engagement. In fact, a Deloitte survey showed that millennials, as you've heard, are twice as likely to be highly satisfied with their career progression when they have the opportunity to volunteer through their employer. And Harvard Business School research found that companies with more community engagement practices significantly outperform their counterparts over the long term, both in terms of stock market and accounting performance. So there are 4 dimensions of community engagement, and let's define community engagement briefly. So community or civil society is any group that shares a common geographic common geographic location to similar circumstances, interests, or values. And engagement means involvement or participation with the idea of activities that offer some form of empowerment. So there are 4 dimensions to community engagement, and the first is investment. Companies are strategically investing resources into the community, including employee time, cash, in-kind donations, and leadership, as you've already heard today. Many have VTO programs, volunteer time off, matching gift programs, or dollars for doers programs, where you volunteer out in the community and the company will actually match those dollars, or those hours with dollars. Companies are advocating for social causes by promoting policy change and educating the public on various social issues. Again, things you have heard this morning. The next dimension is integration. So you need to integrate this into the business interests. Into business interests and business functions like PR and marketing, sales, recruiting, diversity and inclusion. And it's important for NGOs to think about this when they're looking to partner. What is the business case? And then institutionalization. Policies, systems, incentives are applied to programs to ensure it becomes part of the company ecosystem. So you want to make sure that the program is actually becoming part of the corporate culture. Many are integrating community engagement into employee performance reviews as well, making employees more incentivized to get engaged. And a big piece of this is getting leadership involved. It's really important to have leadership involved in all of this and have them be active to really make it part of that company culture. And then impact. Is there the ability to measure social and business impact of community engagement? So what is the impact that the program is providing to the corporation? And more importantly, what is the impact that it is making to the community? So the need for partnership, what are the reasons for this? So the reasons for corporations to partner is it creates goodwill, promotes better image, it spurs innovation, which I think you've also heard, in product development and utilization. It enhances new revenues and new markets. It ensures social capital to maintain and grow operations, and a big piece of that in Silicon Valley is employee retention. We have a real issue with employees jumping. When they come to a company and they see that there's a great program, it's a great way for us to retain our employees. And it fulfills compliance needs. In the US, for-profit financial institutions are required to comply with the Community Reinvestment Act, which means a certain percentage of profits are to go back into the local community in very regulated ways. A community engagement program is a way for that to happen. And then reasons for NGOs to partner. It creates goodwill and great visibility. It also, you can leverage these partnerships. If you have a corporate partner, you can then leverage that visibility to gain other partners as well. It increases revenues from financial support to skills-based volunteering, and improves long-term sustainability of the programs, and it empowers through capacity building. So I didn't tell you about my images. So I like visuals, but I also like food. So when I talk about ingredients, I wanted to see food. So there's the ingredients for dim sum. All right. So what are the ingredients for a good partnership? Well, mission and focus alignment is key, obviously. Select partners that identify what those alignments are for working together, and then set clear expectations between the partners from the beginning, from the get-go, so one is not leading over the other. A lot of times, as a former fundraiser myself, a lot of times nonprofits, NGOs will go out and look for corporate partners. Well, it's the same thing in Silicon Valley. We have a lot of companies that are actually seeing social issues and going out and finding those partners. In San Francisco, there's a major issue with homelessness and public health issues on the streets. And so a large corporation came in where one of their offices are and found a nonprofit partner that's working with the homeless population in San Francisco actually to come out and volunteer to clean up the streets. They now had employees, people from this NGO coming out, working together to clean up the streets. It was a win-win for both. And now that company is financially supporting that organization to scale into other cities. It's a wonderful, it's called Downtown Streets Team. It's a wonderful organization that's scaling into other cities and has a great employee placement rate that's higher than most. So it's again, a great partnership that it can take to scale. So another ingredient is the potential for employee volunteerism and skills-based volunteering. It's, again, one of the key ingredients that we're seeing from our employees is they're wanting to get engaged and actually participate. So are there volunteer opportunities? It's not just about dollars coming from corporations anymore. It's really about the opportunity for people to participate. So are there ways for employees to come in and test out new products, new concepts? Is there something in your programmatic work that they can bring in their skills as well? And then the ability for leadership to participate. Again, if you want something to be sustainable and be lasting, you need to have an opportunity for leadership to come in. Is that board placement, committees? Is it mentoring? What does that look like for leadership to come in and participate? And then also, the thing that's important about leadership is it can't just come from the CSR office. It really has to come from all for these partnerships to be long-lasting and sustainable. Because in Silicon Valley, things are bright and shiny, and so we get engaged in one thing, and then all of a sudden, the winds shift slightly, and then people start to shift over. If you've got more than a couple of people engaged, odds of lasting partnership are much higher. And then the next is investment levels that make sense. So if you're working with a company or a corporation, think about what investment level makes sense. Is there a ton of time that is being put into this partnership where you're only seeing a few dollars back or a limited amount of volunteer time? There needs to be a win-win for both. Don't chase the money. Just because the money is there, it might not make sense for your organization. That's the one thing I saw as a fundraiser is we would get people who would come in and say, we want to, philanthropists, we want to do this. And I'd have to say that comes with a lot of money, but we don't do that. So really think about how that partnership can work. And again, don't chase the money. And don't allow for the partnership to be one-sided. Volunteers take time. When you bring in corporate volunteers, that takes time out of staff, out of resources. So make sure that there's a pay to play. It's not just about us, us from the corporate sector coming in and doing good. There's a cost to the NGO side as well. So make sure that is discussed in that partnership. And then also another ingredient is their visibility for the company and for the community partner. We are a corporation. Bottom line is profits. Because we have shareholders we need to respond to. So what is the visibility? What are the ways that we can drive new markets? What are the potential for visibility from customers? And then is there great stories? The thing that I like to do with my partners is I really want to have an impactful story that I can share with others because it brings more people along on the ride. And then is there social media posts that can be made? Is there awards that can be nominated for? So any kind of visibility. And then measuring for lasting impact. So what are the ways that you can measure impact, outcomes, and evaluate the work that is being done in the partnership? And is there an opportunity for multi-year commitments? The thing that I see again in Silicon Valley is that we get companies that come in and dive in full force, and then the next year they change their CSR focus. So if there's a way, sometimes it's challenging, but to build on that partnership, talk about it in a 3 to 5 year time frame. See what kind of horizon you can reach out to instead of just, let's come in, let's do this thing together, that would be great, and then we'll build on that. Have that conversation early. Oh, and then there's my dim sum actually made now. So here's some of the things partnerships make for great and exciting moments. One of the things we focus on at TechCU is education. So we have our people going out and volunteering in elementary schools. We have our employees bringing their children out to these volunteer opportunities, getting the next generation involved already. Our head of IT every year goes out to Young Men's Leadership Summits and is talking about his role in STEM education and the importance of it. And then we bring
12 hours.
Just in case you didn't know, it's 12 hours. And we bring in students every year to see what it looks like in a corporation. So we want to make sure that we're getting career exposure to our students young. And then we've won awards for this. For the past 4 years, we've been the top 50 philanthropists, philanthropic companies in Silicon Valley and in San Francisco. So that's what I wanted to share. I hope this proves helpful. When you think about these partnerships, really do think long-term, don't chase the money, figure out what works and realize that there is lots of opportunity out there. Please feel free to keep in touch. If you have any questions, my contact info is listed. Thank you.